Welcome, welcome. How's it going, everybody? It's Dem Boys Watch Footy. It's your boy E. We got a new part of Dem Boys right now. We got our boy Dinesh. How's it going?
Up, Eric, man. Yeah, great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. We had to give a little bit of love to our Liverpool supporters. I wanted to thank everybody again for giving us a listen. We are on Spotify, we are on Apple Podcasts, and we're on YouTube. Thank you all again for helping us grow. Slow, steady development, and hope everybody's been good since the last time we spoke. Dinesh, I wanted to give you some time to give an intro. You got anything to say for the folks out there?
Yeah, I'm from the UK, as you can probably tell by weird way that I speak, I suppose. Well, weird for some. But I've lived in New York for now, what's it, 17 years now almost. Yeah, we've been mates for what, Eric? How long have I known you for? Like
It's been at
12?
least, yeah, at least 11,
11,
12,
yeah.
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 Yeah, it's been a good time, good bout.
We've had some good times, my friend, indeed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Well,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
very excited to have you on. I definitely needed some new touch. Dem Boys we are open for all supporters all the time. So wanted to get us started right here. We're going to start off with my squad. North London is red, or as we're wearing right now, we got the Pan African black jersey from Adidas. Just came again from another win over at 3 Hart Lane. Arsenal 1, Tottenham 0. Amazing scenes. Arsenal, we were down in that midfield. We should have been run over, but we were able, in the 64th minute, Big Gabriel towered over for the header. He got us the 1 goal over Romero, the big Argentinian bruiser. But it was an amazing match to watch start to end. The midfield, we had Jorginho, we had Thomas Partey, we had the old peas in the middle. Rice was suspended for a very weird red card decision, but it didn't look too bad, except for after the 70th minute, the midfield got really tired. It was really good to see Ethan Nwaneri. He came through, nice little new Arsenal starlet. Hopefully he gets on that same path as Saka. But again, defense, another clean sheet. Raya, another clean sheet. Tottenham, toothless in attack. Midfield did not do the things that they needed to do. Dinesh, what do you got for me over here?
Yeah, so I only caught the highlights of the match, but yeah, I heard you guys scored in like the last third of the game, right?
Yep.
If you're unbiased, would you say I heard it wasn't super entertaining from the highlights I saw, but the Arsenal, hey, that doesn't matter, right? 1-0 to the Arsenal, as the
1-0 to the Arsenal.
As the old saying goes. So for fair play, when we spoke about Martinelli,
Yeah.
what were you expand upon? Did he perform well?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see too much of him from the highlights.
So Martinelli, in the first half, he was actually doing what he needed to do. He was running up and down the wing. It was kind of a sight to see. You could see that it was starting to build a little bit of confidence. Now, with that confidence came him trying to shoot again, and his shooting boots have been missing him for a little bit. It has not been a very pretty sight since his 22 goal and assists season about 2 years ago. He had a one-on-one with the keeper. Could have squared it away to Saka on the far right. Decided to try to shoot far right corner. Didn't even make it past like the middle of the keeper's space. It was a toothless shot, and we took him off around the 70th minute. It was it's weird seeing he's still young, and people are starting to give up on him. We just got Sterling in on loan from Chelsea.
Ah, yes.
He came on. He was a little bit selfish in attack. He had a chance to either pass it or shoot it. Didn't do either. I lost the ball. So right now, our wings outside of Saka leave a lot to be desired. But I have faith. I mean, we were able to win a big derby up against a really big rival against Tottenham. Even though, again, we got 3 points from Tottenham, three meetings in a row away from home in the derby, getting all 3 points. That's the first time since like the 80s, I want to say, which is amazing to see. But then as well, being able to get this win right after the international break, right before Champions League starts, right before our campaign match of the year against Manchester City next Sunday. It was a really good thing to see.
Yeah. That's a tasty one.
Yeah.
So going back to Martinelli there, I tell you what, was it 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago? Martinelli he struck the kind of fear into me as a Liverpool fan as Leroy Sané did.
Yeah.
Leroy Sané, you know, I remember I actually watched him when Liverpool played Man City over here in New York. I saw him and he was faster. Leroy Sané was faster on the ball than Van Dijk off it. I mean, this was insane. So I know, and he tore us apart a few times. I think there was a goal which when Man City came to Anfield and again he scared the living daylights out of me. And I had a similar for that one season. It was a season where I think we beat. This will bring up some painful memories. It's the Arteta. It's the one where he listened when Arteta was listening to the Anfield, the crowd noise at the training field, and then he riled up Klopp, and then I think we just killed you guys. I think we just That was that one. But that game, I remember I was really worried about Martinelli, and I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get torn up here.
Our defense season was not good back then.
Yeah, absolutely. But hopefully he goes back to form because, as I said, he could be one of the most devastating sort of left wingers again. So
one of the things that you'll see when watching Martinelli play, this man does not pick up his head. I mean, he runs head down, looking at the ball. He doesn't really scope out. Like I said, Martinelli had a pass that he could have squared away to Saka for an easy open net. Decided to take it on his own. He didn't. He rushed himself. He leaned back on the shot, so he didn't really have the balance to put enough power on it. So, I mean, I think that's more in his head right now. So, like you were saying, Dinesh, like he has the tools. He has the physical kit. He just needs to put it all back together again because we know he has it. One thing, it's all on Saka all the time, and we got to see some things out of these other wingers. Trossard, he's been playing in midfield now that Odegaard is coming back healthy.
Strange one, Trossard.
Yeah,
I gotta say, what are your thoughts on? Really?
Hey, he came in. We were trying to get Mihailo Mudryk, and he didn't come through. Chelsea stole him at the last minute because the Ukrainians wanted a little bit more money.
You probably dodged.
I don't know. I honestly think Arteta probably could. If you watch some of his moves over at Shakhtar's before, if you watch some of those moves back then in the Champions League, he was lighting it up. And now he just looks like full of he looks a shell of himself.
Is he even playing for Chelsea? Does he?
He's like playing sporadically. I mean
they've got 100 odd players or something right now, right? In this
49. Yeah, we went over that ad nauseum on the pod. Yeah, they just kept buying players because they're getting ready for the Club World Cup. They're getting ready for the UEFA Conference League. They're getting ready for FA and Carling Cup, and they want to challenge in the league. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, anything other on the North London Derby before we continue?
No, pick on that guy. I've got another question for you. What is with like Arsenal and Chelsea doing transfers with each other? Like you guys seem to have a Jorginho. What else?
We've been doing it for years. We had Kai Havertz. You can go all the way back to Peter Cech, Ashley Cole when we first had to sell him, Nicholas Anelka way back in the day. I don't know. I guess people want to go from West London up to North London, and they only want to go between those two colors. I mean, we recently just sold a few academy prospects over to Fulham. Emile Smith-Rowe, and we have Reece Nelson. Iwobi is also over there at Fulham. So you got some Arsenal kids just like sprinkled around in London. I'm not really seeing like anybody else's academy players or like former first team players playing for any of these teams in the Premier League right now. Don't you think that's a little weird? Like nobody from like the second teams from these top clubs are good enough to play at these other squads.
It is weird, and that's a big problem with the academies, right? I think and we can get onto Liverpool. We'll speak about Liverpool later, but I think a lot of top teams, I think there's a need for immediate gratification and make sure you have the players right away that can perform. And unfortunately, I think there's a big gap there in academy players. Having said that, there are these middle tier, bottom tier teams that keep producing talent. Crystal Palace, right? We can talk about them. And my God, they produce really strong wingers, right? They've in recent years. So as well as come on, is it who's the defender for Crystal Palace? A guy,
Guay.
Gueye?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking about Liverpool, Man City, and whoever else trying to get him in the summer, right? That was
Well, Newcastle had the
Newcastle.
largest bid for about 70 mil euros. No, pounds. And Crystal Palace turned that down. And he got burnt at the weekend by 37-year-old what was his name? What's that cat's name from Leicester City?
Vardy.
Yeah, he got burnt by Vardy on
Vardy's
it.
an
Yeah.
enigma.
Yeah, he's still got the wheels. So, yeah.
It's all that Red Bull he drinks, right? He has an 8-hour energy and a Red Bull before. No, for real, like that's one of his.
Oh yeah, that's his thing. That's his big thing. So yeah, but yeah, I think that's about it on North London Derby. I really want to hear from the listeners. How do you feel about being an Arsenal fan? Arsenal is red. Tottenham. What do we think of Tottenham? I can't really say that on the airwaves right now. All right, let's get into Liverpool. Liverpool. Yeah, Arne Slott. He's been the Dutch manager taking over for Jurgen Klopp. He had a huge win, culminate up in his first 3 matches against Manchester United, winning 3-0 at Old Trafford. Coming back from the international break, everybody thought this was a freebie. This was a gimme against Nottingham Forest, and there were portions of that match where it looked like Nottingham Forest belonged and deserved to be winning that match. Trent Alexander-Arnold gave away the ball 31 times. That was one of the craziest stats that I read. So, Dinesh, how do you feel about the squad losing 1-0 to Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, honestly, that really hurt. Watching it on Saturday, I was full of optimism going into it. Just beaten Manure and Man United. For others who didn't quite get
For
that,
those uninitiated, yes.
Yeah, I guess that's the term I was looking for. Yeah, it was all positive going in. We even had a great preseason with Slot. So I think his first game, I think we lost, but apart from that, we was pretty much unbeaten. I believe in even preseason. So all positive going in. Players were super optimistic. Seemed super optimistic, liking the new system, just unassuming, going about the business. But on Saturday, against a team we really should be beating at home at Anfield, right? I think this is a real big deal. We made Anfield while Klopp was in charge. Really made Anfield into a fortress, and this to in a performance that, quite frankly, seems quite spineless, to be honest. We've got to say it was a big disappointment. However, let's put this in context, right? I think there's always.
First, I really wanted to get this stat out there for you. This was Nottingham Forest's first win at Liverpool since 1969.
About 50 years from now. Yeah.
When I read about that one, I almost fell to the floor. This is something to bring Dinesh on for.
Yeah.
So continue with your context, man. I really want to hear.
Bring me on this week, didn't you? But no, I think this has got to be put in context, right? I mean, yeah, it is a big blow. We have to. I guess this is a sign of the times as well. I mean, will Anfield be the fortress? Klopp was always, super charismatic, a completely different personality. His big thing was, the fans are the Anfield. I heard Anfield was quieter. People left earlier. Klopp would have called that out, very early on when in his reign. But
you can't compare Slot and Klopp. Like, that is unfair to him. Question for you, really quick. In the first 4 matches, what do you think about tactics? I know that is something we've seen the gegenpress from Klopp in the years. Just these guys really just running ragged, really creating chaos for other teams with a very strong press. So tactically, what are you seeing from Slot that is a big change from the Klopp era?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I've watched a couple of analysis and read a bunch of things on this, and Slot seems to, if you see his tactics, he's like overpowered. He's added an extra person to midfield, so he would, when you have the double pivot there, Somerset would come back and would provide that extra player there. So and what they've done is essentially, they have like a six players trying to attack the other player in possession. That's particularly fruitful in the final third. So what he said is this is very interesting. Like statistically, what's been very impressive is Slott's very open and with his tactics, and he's willing to share this with the media. Yeah, I think statistically it's like winning the ball, a high in the final third, just outside the box. There you have multiple options. You can then either play, have a shot on goal, rebound, get a tap in, or obviously you play the ball along the ground. So that's why I think Luis Diaz has been, particularly impressive in the first 3 games at least. Anyway, Salah up until then as well had been really great. Again they've been shifted more narrow. The other tactical switch, and this is what I've been saying, it sort of really frustrated me during. I love Klopp to bits, and he will always have a special place in my heart. But one thing that I read this earlier on actually, that you are, I think you have 3. I don't know the exact stat off the top of my head, but you're significantly statistically more likely to score off a in-swinging corner than an out-swinging corner. So you can see that's, and then while it can create a bit of an imbalance with if you only have a left-footed left back, and and we have a fantastic right back who can whip balls as strong as Beckham, if not better. But yeah, so those in swinging, those you can see that Robertson comes from the right side of the pitch and put those in swinging corners and Trent's on the other side. So that's been you can tell these kind of small these intentional tactical changes have been great to see, as well as like the kind of, I said, the kind of way that he's overpowering the midfield to gain possession.
Copy. So, real quick question, kind of just roll us out. At the beginning of the season, there wasn't really like a kind of a feel that you wanted to see with Liverpool. Like everybody knew that Klopp got you back to the Champions League. What were your thoughts on Slot coming in, just like for taking over with the team? Did you have any predictions of either winning the league or finishing top 4 again, or going into a rebuild for for players to really get in? And now that you've had a really good start to the season, and we're still early, we're still in the first 2 months of the campaign. Anything that you want to now change with that prediction, or do you still feel like really good about your initial thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think there's you've got I think that having such a strong start was I think unfortunate for Slot, really. That's just set him up for, opponents were saying title challenges, etc. etc.
It's because it's the same squad that Klopp won with, so I would understand as to why people are saying you're a title challenger with that's.
Yeah, we still finished 4th last season. We won obviously the old Carlsberg Cup, right? But it'll always be a Carlsberg Cup in my head. But it's that, which was an epic win. But we still finished 4th. This team couldn't. What, did we finish? Yeah, we finished 4th, right?
No, you finished 3rd.
Sorry, yeah, 3rd, right? Sorry, yeah. 3rd,
yeah.
No, we finished 3rd. Sorry, yeah, we still finished 3rd. And we were, the point being, we were far off title challenges.
You were in the thick of it, and then you fell off.
Yeah,
and those are completely. But that was last season,
Yeah, completely
brand new year. Yeah, completely dropped the ball.
It is completely dropped it. My expectations, to answer your question, were I would be happy with Champions League qualification again,
Okay.
given that. And my expectations was Slot again. Dutch didn't know too much about him, to be honest. Xavi Alonso was, I think, a lot of Liverpool fans,
Yeah.
number one choice for a long time.
Yeah.
And then he came out quite early and said he wasn't going to
He's waiting for Real Madrid. He's waiting for Real Madrid.
Really.
Yeah,
I mean,
Carlo is going to retire soon. There's no way. I mean, he's winning. He's going to win until he can't, and then he's gone. He's right now. Xavi has a really good thing going with Leverkusen. We'll see where he kind of continues to take it. They finally lost one of their first matches ever, about in his reign, since that was about 2 weeks ago, right when we went off for the break. So
right.
he's setting himself up for a really strong push for that. I mean, right now Bayern, Leverkusen, and Real Madrid, they're doing business with each other a lot on the loan front, and that's the tipping. That's the tip that tells you like they're really pushing for him to be a coach.
Yeah. Yeah. If that's going to be Scott, I'd rather he gets out his system then,
Yeah, I
and then
feel it.
comes to us. Yeah, then comes to us. But who knows? Again, I said but honestly, with Slot, my expectations are if we get fourth, given everything that's come about, the transition period, I'll be happy. But I'm like optimistic. He could surprise a few. And this is great that right now people's expectations, I think, will be of a reality check. And let's see how let's judge him. Let's have a let's judge him closer to Christmas, and let's see how it goes then. We've got the Champions League tomorrow with AC Milan. Let's see if we can bounce back straight away. They just had I think AC Milan just had a 4-0 win, I believe.
Yeah, we're about to jump into our Euro League roundup. So yeah, wanted to give everybody some thanks again for listening to Dem Boys Watch 40. We are pushing to get up to around 100 subscribers. Right now, we just got up to 55 subscribers on YouTube. We have a few followers over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you guys can keep giving us and showing some support, showing some love, be greatly appreciated. Thank you all again for giving Dem Boys Watch Footy a chance for your sporting footy news. So yeah, like we were talking about, Euro League roundup. Right now, we were going to jump right in. For AC Milan defeated Venezia 4-0. Christian Pulisic, we got to give Captain America some love. He had a 25th minute penalty to help set up that 4-0 drubbing of Venezia. It wasn't really too crazy of a match. There's a lot of behind the scenes things going on with AC Milan that needs to be talked about. Theo Hernandez and Rafael Leao, they're not really feeling the manager at the time, and it's going to be very interesting to see how those two keep moving forward, because those are the pillars on that left side of the AC Milan squad that make the entire team move. So really trying to see something there. We had Barcelona defeat Girona in a nice little drubbing. Lamine Yamal, the starlet over from the Euro 2024 this summer, he went off for 2 goals in that matchup. Just one of the crazier celebrations as well. He passed the joint, literally just passed an imaginary joint over to his teammate for the celebration. That kid's 17 years old. I'm not going to knock him too bad. It is what it is at this point, He's a kid.
That's crazy.
Yeah, let him be a kid, Really big news coming out of that match is Danny Olmo, big signing over from RB Leipzig. He went down with an injury. He's going to be out for the next 4 to 5 months with that injury. So that midfield is decimated just a little bit further for Barcelona. And with the Champions League campaign coming up, you'll never know what you're going to see. Yeah. All right.
Oh, one more thing. Sorry, quick question on this. Did Bayern Munich, right? Did we cover that and Harry Kane?
No, we haven't. We haven't talked on it.
Okay, yeah. I thought they had a pretty pretty strong win, I believe, for the last game, and that's expected. Bayern Munich is going to dominate that league.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they lost to Bayer Leverkusen last,
and that's why it was such a big deal, right? I think things are going to normalize, and
Mm.
they made some strong signings, and we'll talk about obviously. I think we'll talk about that a bit more.
Yeah, they won 6-1 over Holston Kiel. So 6-1. Vincent Company, just it's crazy to see. He had a glow up from Burnley all the way over to Bayern. Okay, I feel it. Well, yeah, like Dinesh said, we're going to go up into our little bit of Champions League roundup. So Champions League is about to start over in Europe, and they have a completely new structure this year. They are playing on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I can't believe Champions League has now expanded to play on Thursdays. That used to only be for Europa League. We have a nice slate of matches this week. We have Juventus against PSV Eindhoven. We have Young Boys versus Aston Villa, Real Madrid versus Stuttgart, Bayern Munich versus Dinamo Zagreb, Sporting Lisbon versus Lille, Milan versus Liverpool, Bologna versus Shakhtar, Sparta Prague versus RB Salzburg, PSG versus Girona, Club Brugge versus Dortmund, Celtic versus Slovan Bratislava, Manchester City versus Inter, Benfica versus Krivna Zvezda, Leverkusen versus Feyenoord, Brest versus Sturm Graz, Atalanta versus Arsenal, Atletico Madrid versus RB Leipzig, and Barcelona versus Monaco. So, outside of the Milan Liverpool matchup, which one are you actually looking forward to in this first slate of matches?
I'm just looking at them now as well. There are certainly some tasty ones for sure. Yeah, but Bayern Munich, like, they've got a relatively easier one with Dynamo Zagreb, but I'd say Madrid. It'd be interesting to see how Mbappe and the superstars perform against Stuttgart.
Mm.
They're at home though, so they should be able to take them away.
Mm.
I'm looking at some of the others. So look, there's Man City Inter. Come
Yeah.
on.
I'm really looking forward to that matchup.
Ooh.
That is Champions League final 2 years ago, coming back to life in front of us. I'm really enjoying that chess match that's going to happen versus Inzaghi and Pep Guardiola. Really excited about that match. I would say one of my favorite matchups I'm looking forward to is Club Brugge from Belgium versus
Mm.
Dortmund. Bruges has a lot of really good wonder kids on their squad. I play a lot of FIFA, as many people show friends of the show have listened. They have some kids that I'm really looking forward to their growth. Andreas Skov Olsen, he's a forward over for Denmark, and he is killing it over for Bruges. He's really, really great. One of your old goalkeepers, Simone Mignolet, he's over the goalie for them.
Mignolet, yes.
Yeah, he's over there.
Mignolet.
Yeah, he's over there. And they got another Manchester City child wonder kid legend, Dedrick Boyata. And one of my midfielders to watch, Rafael Onidika. He's a midfielder from Nigeria. I'm really excited about how his growth is going to impact over the lifetime. I think he's going to be a really, really strong engine for any squad that is able to pick him up. Belgium is a really good place to kind of get your start, and Dortmund also has a really strong kids. They play a lot of kids early, so I'm really excited about that match. I feel as though it's just going to be up and down, up and down. So that's where my mind is kind of pointing outside of the Arsenal versus Atalanta matchup.
Let's talk about this. Atlanta.
Atalanta. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they won Europa League last year against Bayer Leverkusen, so that squad's good. Adama Lookman, that kid came over from Everton, and he didn't look back. He just started smashing and grabbing against everyone. His performances in that final last year, he just took it to him. And they have a very pragmatic coach. He knows what his players want, what he wants his players to do. I mean, it sucks that Skarneka, he's hurt. He has an ACL tear, but I mean they got some really good kids. They got Zanolo coming over from Aston Villa. We got Juan Cuadrado, a Colombian legend. He's on that squad. They got Saeed Kolasinac, old school. If you cared about Arsenal back in the middle dark ages of the 2010s, you'll know about his inclusion into either your great or your terrible space. He saved Ozil from being robbed, and he has a great left foot, so huge claim to fame. But he also just received a medal last year, so really happy to see him. Other than that, I mean, their squad's good over in Italy right now. They're not doing too bad. They are currently in ninth, but they're still picking up the pieces, putting it all together. I mean, the Serie A is doing pretty well, but what I want to see out of Arsenal for this first match, we just set up really well. I think we're going to be without Odegaard, and I also think we're going to be without Saka. Saka took a really big nick at the very end of the match, and I feel as though this is just a time to let our defense kind of shine. It's the first match; you kind of just feel it out, figure out on your way, and we'll just go forward. What about any thoughts there?
So I just say be careful.
Really?
Because last season, I don't remember, they beat Liverpool 3-0 at home as well. They're at home. Yeah, so it was a banana skid. We just couldn't get past them. Now, we were supposed to win the entire cup, right? We were supposed to win that. And that
was that the quarterfinal or the semifinal?
It was a quarterfinal. It was a quarterfinal. I don't know who they beat in the semis, but then they obviously beat Xavi Alonso's, right?
Yeah,
I think it was.
They were unbeaten. They had a perfect season. They perfected over in the Bundesliga in Germany, and they won the cup that same weekend that they lost to Atalanta. So that's when Lookman really established himself again to say, "Hey, I am here." Like. Yeah. That kid went off. He was like, I am no longer that Everton kid. I'm this wonder kid. Like, this is what we're doing. So
yeah. Speaking of like British people in Italian, a bit of a tangent here, but you have Napoli have got two Scottish guys now, right?
Yeah, McTominay and who else? No, we still have Tierney. He's injured right now. Billy Gilmore is who you're looking
Gilmore.
For.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, Billy Gilmore.
Yeah.
It's a weird time, but hey, everybody's an export when you need somebody to stay on that level, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Other than my matchup, what matchup are you really caring for? What Wonder Kids you want to look out for?
Well, Wonder Kids, yes, there's many. So, okay, I'll get to Wonder Kids in a minute, but I'm really interested to see how Conor Gallagher continues to perform. Right, I said he just scored at the weekend, right? He's just scored for Atletico. He's such an Atletico player as well. You know what I mean? Like, just it's funny because I think he was linked to Liverpool for a hot second.
Really?
And I remember, but I'm in this. You know, I think many Liverpool fans were calling him. You know, it's
Jordan Henderson 2.0.
Henderson, yeah, but worse. Like, but I'm less.
You know,
no, but no. In fairness, I like Henderson a lot as a captain. Towards the end, obviously questionable decisions, things that he said, but you know, seeing Conor Gallagher at Atletico, I think is interesting. I think said like such a Diogo Simeone player, right? I think he fits so well, super defensive. Not a particularly exciting player, but I think he's just he does the job, and you can see why he's doing well. So I'm curious to see if he continues to perform there. I said he was the first English player, right, to score for Atletico in like over 100 years, maybe? Something like that.
Insane.
Yeah. But yeah, other folks see my boy Jude, how Jude does for Real. Continues to he's had some injuries, right? He's coming back, right? I believe.
Yeah, he's just coming back from injury.
Yeah. Yamal, obviously. I think hopefully we're on the verge of seeing something super, super special. It's just crazy to think how young he is, right? It's
I mean, 17 years old and just the apple of everybody's eye, you know. So.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm super excited for him. And I don't think we've already spoken in the past about one of my favorite players at Crystal Palace. Actually, Michael Olise, right?
Over at Bayern.
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love him. Yeah.
I mean, I find left-footed, tricky winger players, hence my Oliver Salah. Like, I find them really, really special. And I wanted Liverpool to get him as an understudy to Salah. Fortunately, he went to Bayern. But having said that, I mean, Bayern have got you've got Sane, who is injury prone. I said still, but devilish on his day. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him and Xavi Simmons, right, as well.
Yeah, over at
I think
Leipzig. Yeah.
so. There's definitely for me. Champions League is just like I was watching This is one of the highest. I think it's a pinnacle of football, right? Even more so, I'd say than the World Cup because arguably you've got all the top players, right, on a club team. Yeah, I mean, come on, let's think about it. Just okay. Do you think Real Madrid could be? I don't know who's the best national team. I was going to say Brazil, but
I was gonna say,
yeah, or Spain. Do you think like if you say Spain's the national the
well, that's the fun part is because right now Real Madrid barely have any Spanish players, and I think Spain as a squad would give them a run for their money. I'll never knock against international. Playing for your country and playing for clubs is different. You're honestly playing for the badge and the love of just your space there. You're not playing for, I mean, you're getting paid, but like you're not getting paid the amount of money that you're getting paid for club. Like you're only playing for that with club. For country, you got the world on your back. You got whatever space wherever you're from. That's on your back, and you gotta do well. So I'm never gonna hate either, but I see where your point is. But I'm still gonna say international is the pinnacle. The World Cup is the pinnacle over the Champions League final because right now Champions League. You really think about it, it's no longer like the Champions Cup back in the day. Right now, the Champions League has people in Europe that are as low as fourth or fifth in their divisions. So, like,
you 100%.
Germany has six teams. Germany or Italy has 6 teams in the Champions League right now. So,
Oh no, so that many. That's crazy. I know it's expanded.
It's because of the coefficient for that. So
Gotcha. But I would say just one thing to add to this. I hear you, as a spectacle, the World Cup for sure is probably the biggest tournament in football or soccer, as you like to call it over here. However, I think in terms of quality, what I was trying to say is that like if you put Real Madrid versus Spain as against each other, I think Real Madrid beat them most of the time.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think club players collectively, right? And unless there's a national team which has player for player, the best. And in terms of support, we can have a different pod. We can have talk about this for ages. But in England, there's a kind of a big division between the national team and club. There's often a club versus national team debate there, and those are particularly from Liverpool. From Birmingham, right? So I'm an out of city Liverpool supporter. I'm from Birmingham, but those who are Scouse from Liverpool have many would have somewhat of an aversion to England, the national team as well, and that's more complex. It goes into political, etc., etc. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I rather Liverpool win treble, or a quadruple, than England win the World Cup.
Interesting. All right. So, question for our listeners: which do you care for more, your club team success or your country success? Really hope to see those answers over in the comments or send them over email like you guys have been doing. So we're going to have to speed through our standing on business, our betting segment of the week. Like I said, we got to stand on business. That's what we do over on Dem Boys Watch Footy. So what I'm going to give you are my Champions League bets of the week. We have Juventus versus PSV. I'm going over 3.5 goals there. I got Milan versus Liverpool. That is going to be over 2.5 goals and over 8.5 corners for both squads in that matchup. Club Brugge versus Dortmund. We are going 2-1 Dortmund for that match. And Manchester City versus Inter. We are going 3-2 Manchester City. That is the standing on business bets of the week. Love to hear your thoughts, everybody. All right, now let's move on to our main topic of the week. We are rocking out with first Pochettino. He was able to become the main man for the U.S. men's national team. Don't really want to get too deep into this one, just because we did a deep dive into him joining the U.S. men's national. But he's actually on board. Would love to hear your thoughts on him, Dinesh. I know you're not a Tottenham fan, so you don't really have any cares for him. But just from an outsider looking in, just giving us a quick perspective, especially with Gareth Southgate being out for England, was Pochettino on your radar? Any quick thoughts on him?
I have I have a quite strong opinion about this. I'd say, like, Pochettino, why is he considered such a great guy? What has he actually won?
He's won the French league.
Okay.
And he's gotten second place in the Champions League.
So why is he so revered as being like one of these amazing coaches? I really don't understand what the obsession is with Pochettino.
Well, you have to also think about Roberto Martinez was considered a really good coach back for Wigan way back in the day. And he parlayed that to international success, first over with Belgium and then now with Portugal. So it doesn't matter sometimes. You have to impress the people at the federations on that highest level. Maybe Pochettino is just a really good test taker. He's a really good interviewer, you know? Some people are just like that.
Well, to that point, with Roberto Martinez, right, I can understand that, right? When he's on his tactical analysis on as a pundit, you can see there's a super. Maybe just I haven't watched that from Pochettino. I haven't seen his tactical analysis. But Martinez, he was on the BBC and a bunch of other kind of post match interviews that post sort of. That there's a super strong sort of tactician there. With Pochettino, from his interviews, I just don't see that. And then in terms of his results, yeah, he's won the French league at PSG. We've got unlimited funds, and he got to the final. Fair play, yes, but I'm sorry, he should have. He didn't win anything. Did okay at Chelsea, I suppose, but should have done a lot better with that squad.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be okay. What are your expectations for the men's national team with him? I guess
I'm looking at least getting to the quarterfinals of the World Cup final. That's just the basics with him.
Wow. Okay, so the final
quarterfinals.
Okay, yeah, but that's the top 8. You think the men's.
It's more teams this time around in the World Cup than any World Cup ever before. We're playing at home. The World Cup is once you get past the last 16, every match is in the U.S. There's no more matches over in Canada or Mexico during that World Cup. It's the best chance to take over and just do well. And hopefully by then the system's good. We have around 16 international club friendlies before the World Cup, counting the next 2 years. He's got to get that system together. He's got to be able to talk with the players. We'll see what happens. We got some good ballers. Our goalie situation is atrocious. Our defense is okay. Serginho Dest needs to come back. Anthony Robinson as a left back is solid. That kid is really good.
I think he's super underrated, Robinson. Yeah,
I love him. Love him.
Super underrated.
That man knows how to put a cross in. I like our center backs. Might need to get better as the years go on with Tim Ream. He's starting to get a little bit long in the tooth, but we'll see. I mean, again, kids can come out of nowhere. I'm really liking with this kid, Tillman, what he's going to be doing, what he's actually going to be doing for the squad coming up. We still got some strikers that need to really push forward. Ricardo Pepe. We'll see with the squad. he has to unlock, and it has to get on the players as well. I've talked about this in the past. So again, quarterfinals for me, that's what I care about.
Fair enough. You've convinced me. I think considering they're at home, I completely forgot that for a moment. Right? How could I? I'm super excited for that. That's the one where I've actually go to World Cup now. Finally. Yeah, that's then that's more reasonable to it's. But if that's your minimum, fair enough.
I feel it.
Yeah, let's go.
All
Well, you
right. Yeah, let's go USA. All right. Our next main topic of the week. It comes from the Premier League. What's going on over with Manchester City? Manchester City was charged 115 times based off of financial misplay. And their case actually just went to court today. And so want to really get into it with that. Want to pulling up from the Athletic right now. City were alleged to have funneled money into the club via inflated sponsorship deals with UAE-based companies, as well as hiding some costs by keeping salaries and image rights payments off the books since 2019. Now, other teams that have failed to comply with Premier League rules within the last 18 months, Everton twice, Nottingham Forest once, have been charged and deducted points for breaching the Premier League's PSR. But right now, we've been waiting to see what City's case was actually going to believe. And the fact that it's now behind closed doors even shows more to the shadiness of this entire thing. So, Dinesh, we'd love to hear your thoughts on what do you think is going to happen? Will their dominance be separated from their 115 charges? Do you feel as though anything's going to be taken care of, or do you feel as though like it's just going to be business as is? No, nobody's going to care.
It's all corrupt, right? It's like, come on. Come on. I mean, this is ridiculous. 115 charges, right? Come on.
Yeah,
This is crazy.
yeah.
And how long this take to happen, like to occur?
Since 2019 was the start of the investigation.
20 ridiculous, right? This is insane.
We are in 2024.
I'm not very optimistic that anything's going to happen. I think the FA have to, sorry, the Premier League, really, right? It's a Premier League who are initiating these charges, right?
Yeah.
Have to save face here, and there'll be some kind of fine. I mean, and I'd be very, very shocked if it's relegation. Things that the kind of action that was taken against Juventus, for example, right?
See, that's the thing. I don't think the Premier League wants to go out like what the Serie A did against Juventus. Once Juventus got demoted, you saw the entire. People just believed that Serie A was a complete joke. People don't really put it in a revere like they used to back in the early 2000s and the 90s. I mean, right now a lot of hubris is coming from the Manchester City side. They feel as though they've done nothing wrong. UEFA did bar them from the Champions League. They had a complete 2-year suspension from all UEFA competitions, and then it got overturned in 2020 with the Court of Appeals in Sport in 2020 because they said that it validated everything that they did do in the past. And so, I mean, it's going to be a real battle. I mean, some of their charges even go back to the 2009-2010 season that I'm reading. Right now they're saying like just because it was off the books doesn't mean like that was against the rules, because there were no rules for it back in the day. Which, if that's their case, they might have a point. But as well, like, we'll see. I mean, they're also stating that they can go year by year and just start deducting points from there. And if they lose a title or two, Manchester City might just be like, okay, we lost 1 or 2 titles, we're okay. And maybe that's a good thing for you over in the Liverpool years where you guys were fighting to the very end and you didn't win. So that might be a good one for you.
And we had a COVID win, didn't we, as well? I mean, as much as I loved winning the Premier League, it was fantastic.
It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same when you're winning in front of people,
Yeah.
And I'm hoping last year's dominance with City, we can nick around like 7 or 8 points off of them because I mean, look, Everton and Nottingham Forest, they have been killed for smaller smaller issues coming from their financials. And Leicester City, they're about to get killed because of some irregularities within their books back when they were in the Premier League, and then they dropped, but they still had the highest salary wage bill in the Championship when they dropped, and they came back the next year. That's why they're back right now. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm really hoping that like real justice is taken care of, but like you said earlier, it's all corrupt. You can put a tenner in a man's pocket.
Money talks. Like I
Yeah,
think money talks here, and lawyers are gonna figure this out. There'll be some kind of
they have to
negotiation. Yeah, I mean, I doubt the Premier League as a product cannot be seen in this. It cannot be. You can't have one of the biggest teams, the most successful team in most recent history. Just face such large ramifications. In terms of being relegated, I don't think that's going to happen. Some points deduction, maybe. I think it's going to be fines. I think it's just going to be some kind of fine, and it'll be business as usual. I think if Man City if that sets precedent, they are going to be if they're going to face any harsher punishment. Then I mean, shouldn't Chelsea? Like, how are Chelsea getting away with?
Chelsea got away with, and we're actually going to roll into this topic. So
Okay.
that's our next one that we're about to jump into. So we can leave a little bit for there, but Chelsea's case is a little bit different solely because they are elongating their contracts. That was something that the Premier League never thought of before. So instead of having these 3 to 5 year contracts like you see for normal clubs, they're doing it like it's baseball or hockey, having 8 to 12 year contracts with players, and players are signing them. They're happy to do it. They have 45 players on the books, first team players on the books right now. And they're also showing on their books they're selling high too. I wish they have been. They've sold really high for a lot of their players. At some point in time, their academy is not going to be selling as well as it's been selling. So, because of the way that they're stretching the money out on their books, that's how they're getting away with murder.
Really?
But yeah,
But who are they selling for super high amount?
well, Kai Havertz went for a lot. They've sold. Well, we can get into
Oh yeah,
Chelsea. Yeah, we can get into Chelsea's
ah,
entire uh, portfolio of things because Chelsea right now has an entire civil war going on. So this is our next main topic of the week. I know we have 3 right now, but there's just so many juicy things that have been happening in the world of soccer that just have to be spoken about. So Clearlake and Todd Boehly, 2 owners within Chelsea football, they're in a current civil war. Right now, Chelsea's civil war was led by Clearlake Capital, U.S. private equity firm that owns a majority shareholding in the club, consider buying out Todd Boehly or striking a deal with the billionaire that would remove his influence from the club. Now, what a lot of people don't understand about this situation is that Clearlake has 61.5% stake. So they have enough money and they have enough pull. But Boehly put up his own money to actually foot the bill. So they needed real money on the books. And Todd Boehly said, I'm going to do it. So he has 38.5% stake. And that's split between him, Mark Walter, and Hans-Georg Weiss. So when they first bought the club, the ownership structure, he was just like, oh, we don't need to do anything. But Boehly used personal money to fund the investment. So that's why they have to actually figure out a way to dissolve the relationship if they want to get him out. So they can either buy him out or completely like freeze him out. But right now he has too much say as a minority. He's the leader of all the minority stakeholders right now within the club. So that's why we're seeing more of him and less of the owners of Clearlake Capital, Baghdad Iqbali and Jose Feliciano. So, Dinesh, would love to hear like your thoughts, especially with someone going through some financial backroom dealings with FSG right now, looking to sell the club. Love to hear your take on Chelsea.
I mean, they were looking for a while, right? And I think
Yeah.
that kind of didn't go through. I think they sold like a very small stake, right? I think they but yeah, these rifts between billionaires, right? Let's be real. It's, I mean, looking from the outside into Chelsea, it just seems an absolute mess, right? I mean, come on, this is.
They could also be forecasting what the world of footy is going to look like in the next like 10 years as well, especially with the way these competitions are growing and growing. Them having 45 players to be able to field different squads for different competitions whenever they want might be.
Does that mean different
Might.
coaches as well? Then does that mean that?
A good point. Good point.
Yeah. Will Chelsea have like two or three coaches? I remember a couple of years ago when Liverpool were at the. I think Liverpool played like 2 matches in like 24 hours or something crazy like that, and literally I think James Milner had to coach one of the teams, right? I think yeah, we were playing in the Carabao Cup, the Carling Cup, as I like to call it, and then we played in the World Club Championship, right? Literally 24 hours later, they had like another team, mentioned two separate teams, so we played the kids, and they said James Milner, I believe, coached the one of the teams in that regard. So, have Chelsea been able to get away with buying all these players because their contracts are so long? Is that?
Yeah, they're able to elongate it and separate the money out. So with the PSR right now within the Premier League, they're able. You have to just show on your books like how much money you've made off of sales within a current period of time. That's a big reason as to why Everton weren't able to show a profit. Nottingham Forest weren't able to show a profit or a healthy position based off of their commercial deals, their player sales, and their ticket money and media money. And that's a big reason as to why these things are happening. So as long as you can show a healthy balance on the books, you can kind of get away with murder over there. So that's what you're seeing.
I guess this is. Then you've got to just think. You've got to sustain this, right? I'm assuming you're going to have
That's
to
the thing.
keep producing, like producing talent and or selling players, right? I mean, this is huge risk. At what point does it become a house of cards and collapse?
Yeah. Well, some of their big sales at the time, Eden Hazard, that was back in 2019, 2020. That was 120 million euros. Courtois, he went for 35 million. Mason Mount went for 64 million. Kai Havertz over at Arsenal, 75 million. Like they made some really good money. Conor Gallagher, 42 million. Ian Matson over to Aston Villa, 44 million. Abraham just recently to AS Roma. Kovacic, they sold for 30 million to Man City. Yeah, they've made some really good money off of their transfer business. And if you look at how they also own other clubs, Strasbourg is also one of within the portfolio of Clearlake Capital. So they're able to move money around within the different spaces. So, I mean, this is just a high roulette matchup of billionaires just playing hide the money. It's just like playing like with a Swiss bank or something like that. So it's something really to look at. Like you said, is it sustainable? And really want to hear from the listeners. What are your thoughts on sustainability of Chelsea's structure and this entire civil war? Who's going to come out, Todd Boehly or Clearlake Capital? Yeah, we've talked about a lot today, a lot of different topics. Anything for you?
Actually, I want to talk for a second about the. I love the Arsenal kit. I've got to say,
Thanks. Love it too.
It's great, right? And that had a strong design element as well, right?
Yeah. I can bring up that story, but this one, people have been calling it the Palestine kit. They've been calling it the Pan African kit. Arsenal have been doing a lot, especially for the diaspora, as well as their history. Arsenal. Big reason as to why I'm a big Arsenal fan, outside of Thierry Henry, was the fact that I did a deep dive on history of clubs, and that's why I landed on Arsenal being my squad. Arsene Wenger, like that man, just changed my entire view and purpose with it. And understanding just the history from Arsenal, how they integrated black players back in a age and time where black players weren't really able to get the chances over in the UK to play. as well as the community and impact pieces with it. I know it's corny sometimes to see, but Arsenal with that white jersey trying to get more impact and viewership into having about the stabbings that have been going on in London for as long as they did. Even though we've lost in that kit, it was still a really good gesture to see. So, yeah, that's one of the big reasons as to why like I love my club. Like I've gone to the Emirates. I've gotten to walk around and enjoy the space. Like I've really become ingratiated with them, within the time and space with them. So yeah,
It's lovely. And and you'd have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but Arsenal, I believe, were the first team to field all at 10,
full 11, yeah, full 10. Well, I think it
10
was
players that were
11.
black.
Yeah,
Right?
it might have been 10. It might have been 11. But yeah, you are completely correct. And
Yeah.
to this day, it's still one of the greatest stats of all time, especially during a time where you could see like, I mean, if we watch footy now, like you have to have players from everywhere. You have to have a full. You have to have some talent. You have to have some grit, and you know where these players are coming from. You're seeing players from everywhere, but just being able to feel like and know like that's your squad that did that. They were the first to do that in the UK. It's amazing. It's amazing to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that is our show, everybody. Thank you again for giving us a listen to Dem Boys Watch 40. Dinesh, anything that you want to plug before we get out of here?
Champions League, super excited for the Champions League. I wish both of our teams the best of luck. And let's get it. Let's hope we have a successful season.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited to have you back on again. Everybody give him a little bit of love. Dinesh was dope today. It's your boy E. It's your boy Dinesh. We are out of here. Thank you.